All Indiana Politics is your premier source for Indiana politics, focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
I'm Wish TV government reporter Garrett Bergquist. Voters in Muncie will decide next month who will lead their city for the next 4 years. Republican Mayor Dan Ridenour is seeking a second 4-year term. He faces a challenge from City Council President Jeff Robinson. I recently sat down with Ridenour to talk about his vision for a second term. Joining us now is Dan Ridenour. Mayor, thank you for dropping by.
It is my pleasure, my pleasure.
Why are you running for another term as mayor of Muncie?
Well, we know we took over and there were a lot of challenges. Muncie had gone through a situation that you hope that cities don't have to go through, but we had 9 members of the previous administration were indicted. And I just wanted to make a change, and so we've started that change. We've made great progress, and I know there's still work to do, so I want to finish that job for the citizens of Muncie.
This summer, Muncie became the latest American city to face a mass shooting. What's your plan to prevent future mass shootings?
Well, you know, part of the challenge is those two had a long history with each other. We had a party that expanded way beyond what was allowed, and it's just very unfortunate. So the plan that we have is we're working on the ordinance. We put together a task force, a multi-agency task force that has the neighborhood association, has clergy, has police, fire, EMS, county officials, prosecutor. We're now adding judges and probation to see if we to come up with some different areas. We're kind of breaking it off into 2 different sections. One that's going to deal more with the family and the communication in homes, and the churches are kind of helping to lead that. And then one that's going to deal more on what the council can do. You can't always legislate everything, but we do want some stricter guidelines that are more defined. And so but we're also not trying to run through and just make rash decisions. So we're working the way through it. Right now we have a public survey that we are seeking public comment on, and I've been asking the public to respond. There's a committee of about 16, 17 people, and they've all given their ideas, but I want the public to engage as well, and then we'll formulate a plan and move forward. So I think it'll be sometime in 24 before we come together with something that works on both of those fronts.
You've made housing development a priority. What are some strategies you want to pursue to ensure that housing is both available and affordable?
Yeah, when I ran in 2019, I promised that housing would be a big key, and I said across all income areas, so affordable, workforce, and market, and we've done all of those. So we have already had 270 270 units of development, which for Indianapolis may not be a big deal, but for Muncie that's a big deal. And those are spread out with a lot of affordable housing where it's income based. So if somebody's making $20,000 a year, their rent's here. If they're making $30,000, that same apartment, the rent's a little higher. If they're making $40,000, the rent's a little higher. We've also brought in a lot of workforce housing. And then we have market rent. So we've got a subdivision that's now complete. We did build an apartment building downtown that's 100% occupied. They're looking at doing a second building. And we just got D.R. Horton is coming in and doing 2 different subdivisions for our particular area. So we know that this is an area. Our first affordable housing project, which is a 60-unit apartment building that we built on the south side of Muncie, is now 100% leased. We got the email from them. It just opened up in July. It's 100% leased. We're very, very pleased with that response. What we did is we took a number of properties that the city owned that were vacant lots. Now, when the city took possession of those, often they were homes that were in very poor condition. Previous administrations and/or my administration had torn the houses down. We had these lots. They're not doing anything for the tax base, so they're not helping the school system tax-wise. They're not helping the city pay for police and fire tax-wise. So we packaged those together, and we've had 4 different income-based tax credits from the state approved thus far. One of those is complete, 2 are under construction right now, and they're building individual houses on 61 different places throughout the city. So it's giving investment in neighborhoods that have been struggling, and it's providing a nice housing option for those. So we're going to continue that effort. We do have some momentum now. We have a lot of people reaching out, so we may be able to taper that down a little bit and use some resources in another area, but we know that housing is important. Here's why, and I'll just give you an example. The market rent apartment building that we built downtown, it's a 55 unit, so it's not huge, but 55 market rent apartments. 70% of the people that moved into those apartments were already people who worked in Muncie, mostly at Ball State University or Ball Hospital, which is part of the IU health system. They had been commuting in from other counties, primarily Hamilton County, and there wasn't sufficient housing options available for them. We have a very tight market. We don't have any local developers. So they claimed that they were making that commute because they couldn't find housing. So we know there's a market, and that's why that building is still 100% occupied. We built it in 21, opened in 21.
What's your plan for continuing to redevelop the south side if reelected?
Yeah, we've had some good success there already. We've got there was an old vacant hotel when I took office. We combined some resources from our Unsafe Housing Board, from the edit funds, and from community development to tear that building down. And once we tore it down, I was able to communicate with a Indiana-based lumber and hardware store, Gillman's. They're out of Batesville. And we were able to bring them to that location. They've since built a multi-million-dollar facility on that particular space. That has then sparked other development, which we had hoped and expected. And then we also have a software company out of Seattle who bought a shopping center on the south side, Southway Plaza. They're going to rename it. They're now working on their facility inside that particular apartment, or that particular shopping center. And they've added a tenant. They had some HVAC problems and difficulty getting some of the supplies in, but it is moving forward quickly now.
Your opponent has criticized what he calls a lack of progress on Southway Plaza, which you just brought up, and Tillpond Urban Park. What's the latest there?
Well, on the Tillpond Urban Park, we've been waiting for we're able to do that only when we have the grant. And it's a federal grant, so we're waiting for that full approval. Once we have that, we've got the funds set aside, we have the design ready to go. We're just waiting for federal government approval on that particular grant.
Should Muncie Community Schools remain under Ball State's control?
I think that with the momentum that the Muncie Community Schools have right now, meaning financially they have now money in the bank where before they didn't. They are able to do repairs to buildings, and in fact, even Westview Elementary is doing an expansion project, a multi-million-dollar expansion project because the enrollment has improved. There's great stability now. I do not think now is the time to move away from that. So I think it should continue. Let that momentum continue. The scores are improving, the results are improving. There's a lot of financial stability, and the enrollment has leveled off. So I think there's good improvement now. I would hesitate to recommend, even though it's not part of the city, it's not our choice, but I would hesitate changing that at this point. I think there's good momentum. A new football stadium was just recently opened up with new turf. The YMCA is getting built on the campus, and we just changed the zoning across the street. So I think there's reason to keep what we have for a little longer.
What's one issue we haven't discussed that you think is not getting enough attention in this race right now?
Well, as far as not getting enough attention, I think that the number one real issue, and we have a lot. Every city has a lot. We're a northern city, so we're going to have potholes. We're going to have road challenges, but you have to have financial stability. And my banking background has allowed us as a city to go from when I took office, January 1st of 2020, we had $3.3 million in negative accounts. The state was requiring us to pay back a $1.9 million overdraft on the street department, which caused us not to be able to pave in 2020. And we've completely shifted all those finances around, and that part of that is my banking background, to where we're now very stable. We have a little more cash than we used to have. We have departments living within their budgets. They understand. We put in some procedures to where if a department was trying to spend funds and there wasn't anything left in the budget, it would not allow them to cut the check, so that they have to then go to the controller. We figure out, okay, how do we solve this? How do we still get you what you need and help you stay within budget? Financial stability is the only thing that allows roads to be done, the only thing that allows police and fire to be paid, the only thing that allows employees to be paid and provide the services that the cities need. It is not a big discussion point, but it should be. And if you look at the finances before and the finances now of the city of Muncie, we are in a great trajectory forward to where we can handle all the services we have. What we don't want to do is come in with some big bond or some big huge debt that would create because they have to be paid from the current revenues in some way, shape, or form. And so you want to be careful, and you want to be able to make sure your departments are operating within their budgets and providing the services that we need. So I think financial stability and who of the two of us can help provide that is something that's very important. That's probably not discussed as much as I think it should.
What makes you the best candidate for this job?
I think my experience, I was a regional VP not only with my previous employer before being mayor, but I was over 5 counties, multiple locations, had well over 100 employees. I have experience dealing with people, and I have experience letting people department heads do their jobs and just providing them with whatever support and or guidance they need, not trying to get into every detail. And that's from years and years and years of financial experience and management experience. I was a regional VP with 2 other companies before I was with my most recent bank out of Muncie. That type of experience is not something that everybody can offer. Let's just put it that way. Having experience managing lots of people is not something that you want to overlook. And so I think my management experience, my financial background, quite frankly, the fact that I'm faith-based, my dad was a pastor, I think all those things play into a good, stable, forward-moving operation at the city of Muncie. And I know we've done great things, and I look forward to another 4 years to help finish up some of those things.
Dan Ridenour, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
That was Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour. The Republican is seeking a second 4-year term. And remember, you can catch All Indiana Politics every Sunday morning at 9:30, only on Wish TV. I'm Garrett Bergquist. Thanks for listening.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.